Good morning, everybody. I'm making this video to document my compost hobby. Uh, so it's nice and early in the morning before it gets too hot out here. Got the birds chirping, and I am working on filling up my second of 3 compost things. I went online to learn about how to actually compost stuff. You need to have a 30-to-1 ratio of carbon to nitrogen. Carbon being dry and brown things like leaves, or what I use, which is right over here in this wheelbarrow, is I go up to the woods. How do I tilt this? There we go. I go up to the woods and gather up trees that have been on the ground for so long that they're basically dust. That's the best kind of carbon that I can imagine. And then on the top there is grass clippings. Whenever we mow the lawn, I gather up the clippings. The grass clippings are the nitrogen, and the dead tree is the carbon. And sometimes I'll use leaves for carbon as well. And then also for nitrogen, I will use eggshells washed out, beard clippings sometimes. Oh, and lemon peels, orange peels, stuff like that from my juicer. So that's the construction of it. Oh, and you need dirt, obviously. You need a certain amount of dirt to interact with the carbon and the nitrogen compounds. The dirt has millions of microbes in it, which, along with worms, if you're lucky enough to have them, and I have hundreds in these compost things, they break down the carbon and the nitrogen and mix it with the dirt to form an incredible organic fertilizer. So let's take a look at the compost piles. I really just layer it. This top layer is the dirt, obviously. See if I can get a good picture there. And then right under that is a layer of the dead tree carbon sprinkled with the grass clippings nitrogen. Here's the second one. This one I've covered with a layer of bark chips that I found in the train tracks because I find that it keeps the heat in to a certain extent, and it also limits the rainfall. I think eventually I'm going to have to put tops on these because the more rainfall they get, they start to, as you can see, this second one's kind of tilting. So we got this first one, which is just beautiful. It's got perfect layering. I get the dirt from places in the forest here that I clear out. I clear out the underbrush and then scrape off the top layer of dirt. And then as I'm unloading it into the compost bins, I will pick out the rocks. I get most of them, I think. And then here's the third one, which is very much unfinished, and it's got some looks like some lemon peels and some orange peels and a couple eggshells in there. Once again, this is my wheelbarrow full of carbon and nitrogen. Got my 3 compost bins. Mainly the reason I started it was because I've been getting into gardening, and I realized that anything I plant, I really need to know what the soil is that I'm putting it in, so I'm making my own soil. I've got the layer of dirt now that I just grabbed from the forest over there. So up next is a layer of carbon. And look, as you can see, this dead tree stuff has been on the ground so long that it's basically dust. It's basically dirt itself, except that it is pure carbon and perfect to use for a layer. And I just shake it out over here. Got a couple grass clippings in there too, which is good. On the videos, they say that, you know, when you're building them, you want to build them in the design of lasagna, as with layers. But ideally, it's going to work the best if it's more like a soup and it's all mixed together. So what I do is I build them like lasagna with the layers, and then over the past couple weeks, I will transfer them from one bin to another to mix it all up so that it is more like soup. And in a couple days, it will be June 1st, and my goal is to have them all filled up, and with the top layer of bark chips. There's a bottom layer of bark chips as well. But by June 1st, so that they can cook basically the entire summer. And then at the end of the summer, I'll probably move them and mix them around again, and then find a way to insulate them and hibernate them for the winter and just leave them all winter. Why not? You know, I'm not going to need the soil in the fall. I'll need it next spring. So give it plenty of time to break down everything. I'm going to do another layer of the tree dust or dirt or whatever you want to call it. It's amazing how the tree breaks down if it's been on the ground long enough. I mean, it makes sense, but to go up there and to see a whole tree that's basically become a row of dust is it's really something. And then here's my grass clippings. I just kind of shake it over there like a salt and pepper shaker or something like that. And there's my layer of nitrogen. And then if I was to go in and grab my eggshells or fruit peelings right now, then I could use that as a layer of nitrogen as well. But most important thing is that for this to work at its maximum capacity, you really want to try to approximate the 30-to-1 carbon to nitrogen ratio. You want to make sure it has plenty of oxygen, which is why I chose this type of material for the I guess fencing, because it does have all the holes in it. It keeps it just as well aerated as it could possibly need. And then it needs to have water too. So I've been leaving it out for the elements and letting it get rained on, which is good, but I think in the summer it'll be drier. And I'll also cover it a little more so that all the moisture that's gotten in there over this past month or two from the rains will kind of settle in and do its work. That's my composting hobby in a nutshell.